For our market guests, we have in studio joining us now Gautam, Trivedi and Dhanush Mehta. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Markets don't like this budget? Gautam?
I think the market is only down like 0.5%, which really is neither here nor there. And ITC obviously with a 7% weightage on the Nifty really is the big cause for that. But net the budgets are positive. I would not be concerned with how much the market's fallen.
In fact, the Bank Nifty is now up 500 points, trading at high point of the day. That's big intraday surge on the Bank Nifty. Just see the intraday chart of the Bank Nifty. Look at that. It's a massive surge led by Axis Bank. That's really the big contributor. Dhanush, you've been tweeting dream budget.
Dream budget. Would you also said, I hope it doesn't spoil it at the end. Has he spoiled it?
A little bit, I think so. On the infra side, we could have seen much more push. But if you look at it, what markets wanted, I think he's delivered on that front. Okay. He's not scared the markets away. It's made a more foreign investor-friendly budget. So I think the foreigners would love it. Don't forget that today foreigners are absent in the market. So whatever you're seeing is more on a low volume and mainly domestics, running this market.
Yeah, so it was very stock specific. I expected something on ITC. It hasn't happened. Expect something on housing, so housing stocks are getting...
don't forget, ITC is a favorite of the foreigners. Okay. And they are virtually absent today to support the stock. Okay. So maybe if the markets were on, it wouldn't have fallen so much the way it's fallen.
Okay, so you don't think the foreigner would read what's happened to ITC negatively?
But I'm saying the fall would not be so much. It's not that it would have gone up, but obviously it wouldn't have been fallen in such a huge number.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you, but they obviously would think that this is a good price to buy.
Yeah, it's a good price to buy, and overall India is a good price. It's a good thing because everybody was fearing what's going to happen to India post this event. I believe the scare is out of the way, and now we are back to normal, and we are back to going down deep, reading the fine print, what has happened. But on an overall scheme of things, I think there's done a lot of good things which the foreigners would definitely be very happy with.
I have a question on earnings. If you were at all concerned about the pickup in earnings, because you just come out of a fairly horrid earnings period, and then you hear about a surcharge on, that takes your effective corporate tax rate higher. You hear about higher excise. You hear about higher service tax. You get the reasons for all this. You understand the 4 or 5 year plan, but for the next 12 months, this is going to impinge on, corporate India's financials. Does that then change your outlook for when you see a pickup in earnings, or is it very marginal at the periphery, and the big story really is demand, which this budget doesn't really do anything against or for?
Well, I think so. The earnings, their impact is not going to be that high. And anyways, people are not buying the market for this year earnings for next year. They're basically now buying 1 year down or 2 years down the line.
But you have to adjust your earnings expectation based on what taxes do,
But does it impact in a big way? But also people are buying that this can revive some growth. No, I'm saying this can revive some growth also in the economy, which can cover up for the...
But that's not going to happen in 12 months, for sure.
Maybe in 6 to 12 months it can happen, for sure.
Well, I don't see any infrastructure projects going up in 6 to 12 months.
No, but you have all the power projects coming online.
I'm taking a very short to medium term view. I understand the long term is good. We have milestones, we have direction. Nobody's complaining about that. I'm saying 12 months, Gautam, does this change your view of...
I think what you're saying is absolutely right. I think the fact that this budget really hasn't done that much for domestic consumption or to revive the domestic consumption.
Neither for or against.
No, I think it has probably done a little bit negative because they've increased the service tax, and I don't see any significant way where consumers are going to come back and start spending. And to that point, to your point actually on the capex cycle, in fact I was having a conversation with a recently with an FI, and one of the things we discussed really on that was that there is no reason for incremental capex even in the next 12 months. Because capacity utilizations are only 60-65%.
Sure.
So why on earth would anybody put up incrementally more capacity?
Absolutely.
But if you don't revive demand and bring the consumers back in the market, which is not going to, so that, to your point,
that's
I think
the problem that plays in India as well.
But I think, again, I'm not disagreeing with you, but the short-term view is that. The long-term view, though, within...
I get the long-term view. I'm saying your earnings expectation for FY16, does that change in any way because of what's happened today?
No, it does not.
And therefore your expectations of where markets will head?
It does not. It does not. But I still think there's a strong, I guess, there's no link, should I say, between earnings and the way the market's going up, because it's money flow, it's an avalanche of money from foreigners and domestics, and that's going to keep continuing. I don't see any slowdown in that.
Okay. Don't forget, the markets can re-rate. So it's not the earnings going up. The PE may go up.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's a PE re-rating story rather than an earnings.
And that's been happening for some time. This is a re-rating story, not a growth story.
Exactly.
And the fear was that a re-rating story can be easily derailed.
That's right.
This budget set aside that fear at least.
Completely. I don't suppose there is any chance of people fearing that the story will be derated and India should be going down on the PE front. Okay. In fact, whatever it does, it will increase the PE rating.
Okay. Gautam, a word on private banks, the way they have surged, and a large part is because of Axis Bank and the whole FDI, FI angle, the composite cap. Do you think the leadership is back with the banks, with the private banks?
I don't think it ever left. So let's get real. I mean, the PSU banks have historically been trading bets.
No, from the market's point of view, the private banks corrected quite a bit over the last 1 month or so. 15% or so. ICICI was down 14% or so last month.
No, fair enough. I think from a longer term perspective, people do not buy PSU banks. Unfortunately or fortunately, there's a different debate. Do not buy them with a long term perspective. They buy them as trading buys. The stocks are trading at 0.5x or 0.4x price to book. Stocks go to 1, 1.2 and they sell them. So that's unfortunately been the trend for the last 20 years, literally.
Dhanush, still room for banks to go up from here?
Absolutely, because this FIFDI opens up almost 20-25% limits in a lot of banks.
Okay.
But I think so. One more point I would like to see there is it shouldn't be waiting on the companies to approve it. It should be an automatic approval for all the FI limits. The thing which has to be needed is absolutely...
You want to do away with shareholder approval, board approval, is it?
Well, if the government is agreeing to use to action...
own companies.
No, but I'm saying why do you need a board approval when it's automatically allowed under the root? So why should the board decide when to increase the limit or decrease the limit, whichever way?
Okay, we will get into a long debate on this.
On that point, we're going to take a